we're gonna kick it off, we're gonna talk about critical thinking. Something us three have been talking about for a while that we feel not just everybody, but a lot of people around us, and I would argue that we all have fallen prey to this too.
For sure.
We hear things, we identify with it. If it fits our worldview, then we regurgitate it to other people without ever actually, truly digesting and chewing it up and everything. So we just swallow and spit it out.
Some nice confirmation bias.
Yeah, absolutely.
Believe in something.
Usually,
find things that reinforce that.
Usually passed down from your parents.
Definitely.
I think that's the thing that we all noticed, at least. And from myself, I know that I felt that way.
Or if not your parents, like especially your peers are a huge influence. Whoever you fall in with, probably middle school, high school, you tend to adapt to a lot of their beliefs.
A little bit of environment as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
I mean, whatever's going on around you is going to shape you for sure.
So we're gonna talk about a little bit of critical thinking here. Basically, when it comes down to what it is, it sounds very easy, and I know a lot of schools are talking about, like every school I've been to now, at least higher education school, they always have these critical thinking exercises or whatever, and but they don't really make you do it. They don't really help you do it at all. But they all say that's what they're trying to get you to do. But basically, critical thinking is not taking that information that was fed to you just as fact. It's you might take it in. You don't just reject it, because that's a problem too. But you take it in. You start basically developing a hypothesis on it, some arguments for and against, I think.
Right.
And then you just start trying to build and break down those arguments, and eventually, hopefully, it leads you to as close to the truth as possible.
Right.
We talked about that may not be a real thing, truth.
Yeah. I mean, there's just in almost any situation, I think there's a ton of gray area for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Literally, the only thing I can think of that is very black and white for me is just don't rape people.
Ah, that's a good one.
That's literally like the only thing, because sometimes killing might be necessary, right? If you're defending yourself or something. Stealing could be necessary if maybe you're starving to death or trying to feed your family. Like, I'm not gonna hate on you for stealing some food,
right?
But rape is like the only one I can really think of. I'm like, yeah, don't do that. just don't do that.
Yeah.
I've got one.
Right? You got that truth?
Go ahead.
So I got one. All right. There's only 2 people left on the planet.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want to have sex with you.
Nah.
It's not right. Doesn't work then?
Bro, at that point, like, just let it go.
It's
like,
over.
It doesn't
It's
matter.
over.
Like, even if you do, she has twins, a boy and a girl, you're just going to incest your way to re-evolution? Are you going to incest your way throughout make a whole new species?
Exactly.
Have you seen a real incest family before?
Yeah, I've seen some photos.
You're from Tennessee, so.
You're from South Carolina.
Yeah. Hey, man, we got them. We got them. They run rampant around here.
I bet. Are y'all both?
Go ahead, Trey.
Oh no, you good?
That's one thing that we will have to kind of work on. And we were talking about this earlier. So there will be a little bit of lag between you and us. So we're gonna have to do a good job of not cutting you off.
Right.
So any time we kind of start to, we're at least gonna try our best to kind of pause and let you come through, and then we'll try to wait and make sure you're done and everything. So that'll be something we all have to practice a little bit.
Yep. What are you about to say, Troy?
Oh no, I was just gonna say this is Segue To Logic. Welcome.
Yeah.
What's up?
I guess.
And this is Trey. This is that third member I was talking about.
Right.
This is Trey.
Well,
the third. This is the third.
The third.
This is the third.
We told you.
Literally. I think it's important too. With the critical thinking, I think it's important, and I think one of our goals, at least, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're on the same page that allowing yourself to put yourself in that other position so that you're able to disagree. I mean, it's really hard to put yourself in the position of rape is right. Like, that's
right.
You're pretty spot on. That's one of the things that you can't really you know, argue,
Yeah.
argue for it, but as best as you can to try to see from the other side, and even if you don't come to the conclusion that you agree with that, you still have some more a deeper level of understanding of what that person may feel or try to is trying to represent.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously, we're going to be talking about probably politics a good amount on this show, so
Yeah.
That'll be extremely important since obviously in today's age, politics are extremely controversial.
Yeah.
And
Well, they're everywhere too. That was one thing that
everything now.
It almost doesn't matter what it is. It can be brought into the political realm. There's at least going to be two sides on it at the very least.
And they're like complete opposites almost now, which is not great in my opinion.
Yeah,
the whole two-party system that can be an entire episode on its own.
Oh, it will be. That I've already got that one in the works, and it's spinning up here.
Not great, not healthy.
And we're gonna throw a quick shout out to Jamie in the back. What up, Jamie?
Hey, Jamie. It's not real Jamie.
It's not real Jamie.
Better than Jamie.
I've never seen Jamie, but I think she's prettier than him.
Yeah, you think so?
I think so.
Probably so. If they'd never showed Jamie on camera, we just don't know.
I think they did. I think I saw him the other day.
I refuse.
He clicked to himself.
Nah.
I'm hoping it wasn't him, but I'm pretty sure it was.
I assume he's just a blob with hands. And just controls cameras and mice. That's it.
So Trey, just because you weren't here for our little intro episode, like kind of tell our future viewers like why you decided to do this with us.
Shoot, it's a pretty easy decision. Me and Matt, like we've got a long history, and then just me personally, it's kind of always been my personality to speak out on things that I feel strongly about. Race is one of those things.
Right.
Certain politics, maybe not as much as it used to be, but certain politics. But anyways, I just think it's important that people are able to have a healthy dialogue. And I think that we miss that a lot nowadays. And me having a child that's 5, I want her to be able to listen to these things and to understand that people may be different, look different, be in different places, but there's no reason that, we can't get together and have a healthy conversation and build from that conversation, because we're not always going to, and I can't honestly wait till the episodes where we can argue. It's just, I can't wait. But, just understanding that we're all humans and treating each other with respect. That's the biggest thing. So again, it wasn't difficult for me to want to hop on this and talk about things that are relevant today, and even things that are, simple things. It doesn't really matter. We're having a conversation, and as long as you're learning, I feel you're growing. So.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's crucial. I think that's a big reason why we were all kind of happy to do this. Is me individually with pretty much everybody here and all together have had really, really good conversations, and I feel like anytime I've had conversations like that with people, those are the people I end up feeling closer to. I feel like I know a little, it's a lot better than the small talk you give to people at work and things. Yeah, I feel like I say the same thing to people at work every time I. How's your day? How's your weekend? It's not that I don't care about them. It's just like we obviously don't have the time that it's going to take to get into anything. But so let's go ahead and get into this. So we kind of talked about what it is. Anybody want to add just a thought they have on critical thinking that we didn't say about like what it is?
No, I mean I can try to dumb it down.
Yeah, give us a dumb.
Well, I'm not like the smartest guy on the planet.
I disagree, but
thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad. I feel flattered. And I know, especially when I was younger, tend to be way more like partisan. I was like pretty hardcore. Like thought I was like super liberal, which I still am. I'm definitely very, very like liberal leaning, but I thought the world is much more black and white than it is.
Feel you.
And as we just said, there's a way more gray area and a whole lot of matters, and it may not be as simple as it seems.
Yeah.
And I see that as an issue for a lot of people, especially even after their teenage years. You just get stuck in the same thought cycles, and you don't you don't ever reach out or like try to combat your thoughts. Honestly, I think the thing that helped me was like Clemson being a pretty conservative school, and I had to take a bunch of econ courses there that were much more conservative leaning than I was used to. And but it really, it's not that like I agree, but it definitely just like presented to me like, oh wow, there's way more schools of thoughts out there than just the one that I've been taught for or believed in my entire younger life.
Yeah.
So that was very eye-opening for me.
Yeah. Okay. Trey, any more thoughts on what it is before we move on?
I honestly, I think we've done a great job, both of y'all, of covering that. Hopefully, everybody understands what the point of this is and the goal. And I also think it's very, at least for me personally, I know not everybody's the same, but me personally, it is, what's the word? I don't even want to say healthy, but it's like food for the soul to have intellectual conversations. Because just like what you guys said, you don't get those every day.
Right.
A lot of people are not capable of having those without getting emotional and getting in their feelings. So be able to have an intelligent conversation with people that may or may not agree with you and keep it very civil is relieving. It feels good. It definitely, I enjoy it. So
it's very cathartic.
Understands that. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to kind of move on to, talked about what it is. We're going to kind of how to do it, and we're going to be very brief on these little bits and move on to our real topics. But for me, the way that I did a little research on it and kind of thought about it myself, and I realized that the most powerful part is like the questions you ask. Because of course, if someone tells you something, you just accept it. You're not really asking any questions. But asking what is good. It's good to know what it is. But it's a lot better to ask like, well, why? Why is it? Or why is it important? You start asking the whys and the hows. Right. I feel like you start really getting into the juicy bits of any idea. And I feel like that's the only way you're going to make the best decision based off of it. If you don't start breaking it down with questions, and that's something we hope to do here is, we all like each other and everything, but there are going to be times where I'm attacking your ideas. That's the whole point of this is we're trying to get past what we think and believe and try to move on to something that's a little better, that we've all come up with based off of literally breaking down everything that we think and we believe right now. So trying to literally destroy those concepts that we have.
I mean, I think critical thinking is you're literally a little kid.
Yeah.
But Trey, you might know about this, the why age. Why is the sky blue? And then you give them a reason. It's like, well, why that? Why this and why that? I mean, that's basically do that with political issues and economic issues and the news article you read on Facebook. Why? Well, why? Who wrote this? Why did they write this?
I think that's. I was literally, before you said that, you took the words out of my mouth. I was gonna bring that up because a little couple of kids at the pool were asking me all kinds of questions, and their parents were like, "I'm so sorry," and I was like, "Nah, don't apologize." You know,
that's good.
And I think we need to get back to. It's funny, like the older you get, the further away from your natural self you get, and that's a child, and they're not as exposed to all the things that us as adults have been exposed to, and that's naturally what they do. So I think that's a great point that you brought up, is just asking the why. And I feel like us, especially as men, but probably I can't speak for women, but as adults, we tend to think that not knowing something is like a negative, or it makes you less than, and it's really not. We're seeking answers, and that to me that makes you wise.
Right.
But that's a good point. Great point that you brought up.
Yeah. I want to. Sorry.
No.
Want to be very clear. First of all, to anyone watching, I know we're looking straight down because they can't see the laptop. There's a laptop here with Troy's face on it. So that's what we're looking at right now. Just it looks like we're staring at nothing.
I'm just looking right below the camera. I mean, it's probably pretty close. I wonder if they would if you can even see.
You can. We'll see. Checked it.
We'll see later.
Well, I'll put Trey's face on the actual screen. But that's what we're looking at, is what you're probably seeing. Second of all, I think there's going to be a lot of episodes on this podcast where we don't come to any answers.
Oh, absolutely.
We're just discussing things. And I think we've all agreed that, we're not trying to like just make up shit and pretend like we're right. So I hope if a comment section, if we get some followers and we get a comment section that's bumping, I hope y'all are like calling us out,
fact
checking us. You know, I'll be the first one. Hopefully, who knows what happens if we ever make it big? I might just become a massive dick and just never admit I'm wrong. But I
nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nah. But I mean, if I am proven wrong, you know, I hope I'll be the first one to admit and be like, you know, you guys are right.
I mean, that'd be great. I mean, as long as it's not getting overloaded with people who are creating more garbage than than we spewed in the episode. Because I mean,
Sure.
and to carry on to like with what Jordan said is like pretty much nothing that we say here. We might. I mean, we intend on doing more research for some of the more confirmed topics that we're talking about later. But at no point are we saying that what we think is 100% true or that what you think is 100% false. And that's kind of the whole point of this whole discussion thing. It seems to be foreign nowadays, but you know, that's not the point.
So foreign.
I mean, it really feels that way. It's kind of sad, but
Everybody thinks they have the answers.
Right. Well, I mean, Google tells you do, but of course Google lies. I mean, it doesn't lie to you, but you may not be very good on Google.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what you're looking up on Google.
Right.
I mean, you can find pretty much anything that confirms whatever bullshit it is. That it may not be bullshit. Maybe you are right, but you can pretty much do anything to get your confirmation bias in.
Right.
But
So, all right. So we kind of talked about. Anybody want to hit any more points on like how y'all use critical thinking, or how we should?
Oh, you got anything, Trey? Before I hop into this?
Oh, take it away.
Bro, I just love looking at incentives. Yeah, because that was like my favorite thing about taking economic courses is that learning about just how important incentives are. Meaning, my favorite thing is just like money and politics. Not my favorite thing. Like I like money and politics. I can't stand money and politics.
Right.
But like it just skews so much. That's like my favorite thing when I look up like a news article. You know, I like looking at who wrote the article or like what, you know, who's presenting it, whose blog is it on, it's typing in, like who pays the bills for these people. I just want to know. I think that's always so interesting.
Yeah.
So that's one of the ways I critically think is
figuring out who said it.
Trying to figure out who's like backing it with whose cash.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a very important thing to look at.
Very true. Very true.
So.
Trey?
I mean, for me, it's an everyday thing. I really, I tend to break things down sometimes, maybe a little bit deeper than they actually are on the surface. And I think that's something that I've tried to work on a lot, not looking too much into something that may or may not be what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But for me, really just trying to, like I said before, really just put myself in that situation and really be present with that actual moment, like that moment in time, try to be as in that moment as I possibly can and really just slow time down, you know, if that makes sense.
Does
for me, that's always really the best process personally that I've found that works. But you know, to each his own.
Right.
I feel you.
Yeah.
It's like when I like really try to like focus in on someone's conversation, obviously that tends to help a lot on deciding are you talking bullshit or not. Like when you're actually paying attention. Also, sorry to Brittany, I just realized that you can't hear anything that we're hearing, so you're just kind of lost right now.
I thought about that too. She can hear what we were saying.
Yeah,
so.
that's gotta be weird because I know when we pause, Trey's talking for a while. She looks at us funny, like if something's wrong.
That's why we get to get the other headphones and the mic and everything.
One day, Jamie.
We're piecing this together one step at a time. This is a big first step, though.
We're gonna get it right.
Right. So, all of that's to bring us to like. Why do we care? Why do we care about that? And I think if you step outside your front door, which is very dangerous business, you can hear it and smell it and feel it, and you turn on your TV and like it's all you get is why it's important to use this, because this isn't just something you use in a conversation or school. Like if you use it in your daily life, you won't go out. You most likely won't go out and start screaming at somebody you don't even know, telling them they're, a bigot this or
wrong.
or a commie that, or whatever it is, like you're wrong. It's always you're wrong. It's never I'm wrong, and most often it is because we're all wrong. Like I don't care how well you know something. Like when it comes down to it, you don't know enough to to tell someone else their life experience. And I think we are living in. I mean, I'm sure it's happened in history, but I can't speak of other times. But we're living in the moment where people aren't using their brains, and it's creating just pandemonium out. It's just straight panic. And I think not saying that people protesting on for the wearing masks or shutting down the economy or for Black Lives Matter or something like that. I'm not saying that either of those people they're bad or they're dumb or they're not whatever, but it's just like you're spending too much time watching your news channel, and it's making you literally crazy. Right. I mean, I hate to. Crazy is not a good. I don't. That's a dismissive word, but but it's making you frantic in ways that I feel like otherwise you wouldn't.
Right. You're frantically misinformed.
Yeah, constantly.
It makes people tense because when you critical think, that like you don't know everything.
Right.
But when you don't do that, it makes you so tense and frustrated that other people are saying things that aren't in your normal.
Right.
And if you don't critically think, you tend to think that you already have the answers. Yeah. You think you got it all figured out. So
when you think that other views are attacking you instead of make you think or learn.
Yeah, well, it becomes a part of you. These ideas become a part of you, and once someone starts knocking those walls down, they're not attacking views. They're attacking me.
Right.
I hold these views like so close to my heart. I've not thought about these once, but
not one.
But I will fight you if you.
I'm pissed as shit.
So I think a lot of people. Part of the problem with not being willing, or not even willing, just not having the ability to change your perception is, it's kind of, people, especially nowadays, you can see it. You get on Facebook, and I'm not going to give a specific person or example, but let's you guys have seen it plenty of times. An athlete or an actor or whoever, 5, 6, 7 years ago when they were in high school, they were still a child. You know what I mean? They said something that was racially insensitive or whatever the case may have been, and now they don't think that way, or maybe they've been around a lot more Black people as an athlete in the locker room, or something in their life has changed. And so I think we forget, and it doesn't make it right that you said nigger back in 2007. Right. You know what I mean? But that doesn't necessarily have to reflect on who you are as a person now. And I think that giving people the opportunity to show that through action, because it's one thing for you, okay, you said this, you deleted some tweets, but your actions don't really follow, what you're trying to put out there. So I think giving people that opportunity to really express, like, hey, I don't really think this way anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I'm changing. And that goes further into the sense of, it's okay to change. You know what I mean? Don't let them tell you, because in society, like I just mentioned, I feel like a lot of people, they still want to go back. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't change who you are as a person, what you believe. You might have been born, raised a Southern Baptist. I was. Do I follow that religion anymore? No. Is there anything wrong with that? No. But I think that, again, that goes into kind of like the ego that we've been told that we're supposed to hold and carry. And it's okay, and I think that's what we're doing here. It's like, it's okay. Like if my opinion on something huge changes through this process, through this podcast, cool, good. I'm learning, I'm growing. Like, that's not a bad thing. And I think it's important that we address that. It's cool to change, to
please
have a different opinion.
Please change.
It's actually beautiful you gave that example, because I think that is a perfect analogy to the history of the United States. So, like, white people today, and I mean, if I guess we're going to kind of segue on to. we're gonna segue on to one of our topics, but people today did not own slaves. most are probably not spitefully racist. But just like Trey said, we want to acknowledge the past so we can learn from it and grow from it and change. But you can't do that if you don't let go of the past whilst accepting it at the same time. So it's crucial that, have a conversation with someone that doesn't look like you. Make a friend that doesn't look like you and the rest of your friends. You'd be surprised, one, how not good it feels, because a lot of people do that too. They just want to be like woke. Everybody wants to be woke and friends with the black kid because he's cool or whatever it is. But like, do it because you actually want to get to know somebody that doesn't live and think like you or look like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's crazy how it'll change your life and how much better you feel. But I love that you said it like that about, saying something, awful before or doing something awful in America's case. And changing, and that'll be something we talk about later, but people not wanting to change.
That's true. Actually, so I wanted to bring up, because I listened to that whole thing you sent out, Trey, in your email, the talk you had did you go to Web too? Is that, no? Okay. I thought that's where y'all met, but where did y'all meet?
Chattanooga.
Oh, in college.
UTC, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
See, he's from Knoxville. I'm from about an hour west of Nashville.
Okay, cool. You were talking about, you said you were like one out of just a couple black people at your school?
Yeah, just no more than about 10, if that, in high school.
Oh my God. Yeah. And so I actually wanted to touch on this. I know we're kind of jumping ahead maybe to the racial tensions type part, but whatever.
That's fine.
To segue around.
We'll start it off and then we'll end with it too.
All right. Do you think, because you were talking about, you felt that there was quite a bit of racism at your school? Is that right?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think, so was the petition to try to bring in more minorities? So, I mean, was the theory basically like, hey, I actually no, because I remember you talking about it in one of the bits. You were like, just, invite me in, or just like talk to a black dude.
See me.
Just have like an actual conversation, of someone. I personally feel like that would be incredibly beneficial for a lot of people. I assume you feel the same way, Trey?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Well, I just feel like... No, you're good, man. I feel like anyone I've met, and growing up in South Carolina, quite a few people who say at least that they're racist, or at least they're implicitly racist. And I feel like not one of those people has ever just like sat down and had just like a real conversation of like a black dude, a Mexican, a Asian guy. Like, it just felt like it was just, they probably grew up in a racist family. They were told black people were bad or Mexicans are bad. And then they just continued that and just like refused to like ever talk to someone. Yeah. But I felt like if they just sat down and just had a real conversation, like I feel like that would
it's crazy,
help a lot.
But they're going to turn around and their father and their mother and their brother and their uncle and everything on Sundays are going to go watch Cam Newton play football and cheer him on like he's, like he's Jesus in some cleats. You know what I mean? That it's crazy how we can sit here and talk about people like, like we can talk about people like they're not human, but then literally praise people that are the exact same, just not as athletic.
Yeah, that cognitive dissonance hurts my brain a lot.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's kind of ironic because, and I was talking to my brother about this the other day, but some of the best conversations that I've ever had and deepest conversations that I've ever had actually have come from people who are so racist and have no clue that they're racist.
Brother.
Like they absolutely have no idea, but everything that from what they believe to the way that they talk about certain things, it's just in your face. These people, if we didn't work together, you wouldn't be talking to me. And it's weird. And I've always wondered why that is that way. But I think it's funny too that you mentioned they'll turn around and watch Cam Newton, because I've seen seen it for years, but the other day it just popped up on Facebook. One of the UT football players got dismissed from the team for domestic assault. Don't know the details, didn't read the story, just know that's what it was. And the comments are very similar in all of these cases that, you know, of a football player getting arrested, getting in trouble, whatever it may be. And it just amazes me, you know, as soon as he gets in trouble, now he's a nigger. Now he's a thug.
Right.
Now he's a goon.
He transitioned.
As long as you're on that, as long as you're on that straight and narrow, you can put that 82 jersey on and go catch touchdowns, and we'll yell for you all day.
Right.
You know, and it's really fucked up. I mean, it's just we're always black when it's convenient. It doesn't matter. And I was talking to several people about this yesterday, actually, but you know, I'm mixed. I'm 50% black and I'm 50% white, but I'm always black. I can never play the white card, no matter how hard I want to. I can never play that card.
Sorry, sir. You do not qualify for this card.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. But I think we, you know, as black men and in minorities, I think what, you know, we just want so bad, and a lot of us don't really understand how to get to it, is, you know, I want to be able to walk into Kroger right now and not be the only black person there outside of, or a minority there outside of maybe an Asian here or Mexican here. But like, a lot of white people don't know what that feels like. And it's something that I've gotten used to, but it's taken a toll on you to get used to it. And you really shouldn't be used to it. There's no reason that I should drive. Like, first time I went to Atlanta, I was shocked when black person drive by a black person. I'm sitting at the red light and everybody's black. Like, to feel that way though, but like, can you imagine how that feels? Like, that was the first time that I had been surrounded by black people in a city.
Is it weird that you feel more uncomfortable around a herd of black people than a herd of white people in Kroger, because it's actually more foreign to you than, you know, than what you normally go through?
Yeah, it shouldn't be that way. And the fact that that's normal is a problem, you know. Yeah.
If we're critically thinking there, I would have to put out. I mean, obviously, there does need to be some integration, but there are more white people in this country, just, you know, per capita. So I mean, you would generally see more, but I'd certainly gather what you mean, that somehow, even though there are no laws in place, segregation is stronger now than it was during Jim Crow. It's kind of mind blowing.
How's that?
Yeah,
just as people like kind of drifted off to their own areas.
Yeah. White people got more money and then like literally like kind of moved out of the cities.
Right.
The black people couldn't move out of the cities, so they had to stay there. And so then, you know, all the nice places were outside the city. People would come in and make money and get money and give money and this and that, and black people are just like standing around like, what the hell's going on? Right?
What's going on?
What's going on?
Well, see, the problem with that is also, honestly, and this might be a little bit controversial, but segregation was actually better for us than what we have now, because we weren't spending our money, and we weren't allowed to spend our money with white people. Our money wasn't going other places. It was staying in the community. Yeah. And now we're in a situation to where we push our money everywhere else, because our communities, our grocery stores are not owned by us. Nothing in the hood store is not owned by any black person. None of our money goes to our community. So we're just we're literally just funneling money out with no resources. So I mean, again, it goes to a way larger problem, and it's not just it's not just white people. It's a huge problem in the black community. But the whole segregation idea, we are worse off now than we would have been had we just stayed segregated.
Well, you look at Tulsa. You look at Tulsa. The anniversary of Juneteenth. They were making more money than like any white person around them. That's kind of the reason why they went and burnt everything down, is because they were embarrassed that somehow black people were more successful without their help. This is in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
When was it?
I don't know the year. Trey, it was like 1905 or something. Say what?
Black Wall Street.
Yeah, Black Wall Street in Tulsa.
I can't tell you the year either.
It's something. It's something like.
I've never heard of that
something
before.
Like in the. It's what Juneteenth. If I'm not mistaken, it's what Juneteenth is the anniversary of, and so, but basically, It was a town in Tulsa, a community of black people who were incredibly successful just working within them, their own community. And basically white supremacists came in and
pissed.
just killed a bunch. I think they say that they killed somewhere between like 200 and 300, but they actually say that there might have been like 800 people murdered.
Holy shit.
Throughout that. Yeah.
I didn't even know about that. I've heard Juneteenth before, but
yeah. If I'm not mistaken, that's what it's based off of, and I think it was definitely the early 1900s, if I'm not mistaken.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So I mean, and he's absolutely right. Black people were doing way better directly after the Civil War than they're doing. Now that's a strong statement. They weren't necessarily doing better because like we live great now, but in comparison to the people around them,
right,
they were doing way better then.
Yeah, I have to look into that. I haven't seen any stats on that, but I mean that does make sense because I mean you probably are right. If you're in the ghetto, I mean I don't know who owns those stores, but normally if it's like a dollar store or something, like no one locally owns that. That's it's a big chain corporation.
Yeah. And I mean I'm gonna be stereotypical here, but then you got a Korean person that owns the gas station. You've got a white person that owns the grocery store that you can't afford to go to or something. You know what I mean? It's just a big cycle there. But